Hello, lovely people. It's Hila here, Saturday Night Stitching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video, I am super excited to be doing a review of the Online Tailoring Academy, which was created by Stefan Wimmer, a Viennese tailor who works out of Vienna, who has got so much experience to share. And he's basically created this online platform course whereby by the time you finish it, you will have learned how to sew 52 very classically beautiful, gorgeous garments and picking up a lot of tips and tricks of the trade. I had the opportunity to review the first 3 patterns, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, if you've been with me since the beginning, you will know that I'm a huge fan of lifelong learning. I am committed to continually increasing my skill and mastering the skill that is sewing, whether it's the pattern drafting aspect of it or it's the construction aspect of it. And ever since the last couple of years, I have been looking for something just a little bit meatier to get myself into. And so when Stefan Wimmer at the Online Tailoring Academy reached out to me, it felt like it was just perfect because I had been looking for that. So I had the opportunity to review these 3 modules. So each module is actually a garment that you get to make, and it comes with a pattern and it's downloadable. There's a copy shop version of the file, and there's the A4 and the US letter file, so you can do the print at home. And so I went through those. The first one is an A-line dress. The second one is a skirt with a contoured waistband. And the third one is a sleeveless dress that has got princess seams with a zipper. So the first one is an A-line dress, which is so beginner friendly because it doesn't have a zipper. All it does have is just a little button loop. But Stefan takes you through the entire process. And I'll get into some of the things that I really liked about the modules that I did and what were my big takeaways. And even though I count myself to be an intermediate or an, if intermediate level had 3 stages within it. So you sort of like have your beginner intermediate, and then you have your intermediate, and then you have your advanced intermediate, who then eventually will move on to advanced. I would class myself as an advanced intermediate. So that's the stage that I'm at. And that's because I haven't done a lot of more technical stuff like trousers with fly fronts. I'm not very confident with that sort of thing, and I haven't done as many coats, so that's why I would place myself there. So I wasn't going into the course, I wasn't too sure what I would get out of it, but let me tell you, by the end of that first module, I had learned so much, like things that I could see that I needed to like tweak a little bit and improve on this. And that's the beauty of lifelong learning. When you never stop learning, you know, you go back, you learn, and you pick something up. And I love that. That's one of the reasons why I do commit myself to lifelong learning. Since this course is basically been set up to take somebody from a beginner level all the way to a mastery tailoring level, I love the fact that Stefan, right from the get-go, is very realistic about the amount of time that it will take you to get to that point where you can become a master tailor. And I think if anything, the last 2 years have shown us is that 2 years goes by just like that. And if you decide to commit yourself to doing something, to mastering a skill, then 2 years, you know, you can absolutely get that done. Another really great aspect of this particular course that I particularly appreciate is that you don't get all of the patterns in one go. When you sign up to the course, you actually get a new pattern that builds on from the previous skill set that you've had every 2 weeks. So I like that drip feed aspect to online courses. In the past, I have to say, I haven't appreciated courses where I've just gotten everything in one go, and I tend to suffer from analysis paralysis and thinking, oh, what should I do? What should I do next? So I really do appreciate that fact about this particular course here. So In terms of the course structure and the course layout, I felt that it is very laid out in a really coherent way. It's very logical, and I think that the audio and visual aspects of it are really great. The lighting is fantastic, so you are actually able to see all of the things that are happening, and he takes you through the process of each module in real time, which means that as he's actually sewing, you're actually seeing what he's doing, and I really like that. So it does mean that if you're following along with the course, you are actually able to do the dress, to finish the top, to finish the skirt within the 1.5 hours that is there, particularly for the beginner friendly patterns like the A-line dress. And I really like the fact that Stefan takes the time to explain what he is doing, and particularly tricky parts, he will go over them again. And I actually came away from the A-line dress realizing that I need to up my game when it comes to dealing with the V neckline, because the A-line dress is a simple one which has got a curved V neckline. And I got some ideas there that really motivated and inspired me. The other thing that comes along with the course that Stefan covers is that there's actually a lot of other materials. So it's not just the modules that cover each garment as you make it, but there's other stuff like how to take your measurements, a comprehensive video on that, as well as a very quick, super fast sewing machine skills tutorial on how to make your own pin cushion with applique. And I must say that I'd never seen applique being done like that before, and I loved it so much that it's just going to be one of the projects that I'm going to do with the kids over the half term, because it is very simple and you can easily use that for making Christmas ornaments as well. So I really quite appreciated that. But one of my actual favorite ones was where he talks about setting up a sewing studio, because I was just playing around in the platform on the site itself, which is very intuitive. Everything is clearly labeled, and I actually enjoyed the times that I was spending in there. But when it came to talking about setting up a sewing studio, I really loved the wisdom that he was sharing about how, you know, it doesn't have to be a fancy sewing machine or anything like that. Just as long as you've got a good sewing machine, you can sew anything. And one of the things that I learned was that there is such a thing as a tailor's chalk sharpener. And I went and I bought it straight away, and I didn't realize that this was a thing. And if I show you, you know what, I'm actually going to show you. So I'm actually going to show you. I literally had to stop recording, go and get this from a drawer. But this is all of the tailor's chalk that I have, right? And I would get this because I didn't know how to I would try using a knife to sharpen it, because it would just get blunt and it would get to the point where the lines that I drew would be so thick. So I was just like, there's a sharpener for that. And again, this comes with the whole concept of lifelong learning. I didn't think that, you know, I'd pick up something from a basic beginner class for the A-line dress, but here we go. And so many other things. So this is just an example of one of the things that I actually learned from there, but I picked up quite a lot. And as I said, the visual layout, the lighting is so good. You're able to follow through step by step with it, which is really, really fantastic and much appreciated. There isn't also, it goes along at a clipping rate as well, but say you felt like, oh, you wanted to get through the class faster, you do have the option of actually increasing the speed. And I think because it's hosted on Vimeo, which is a video sharing website, but I've noticed that it's a really good site, so it's really high quality as well. But you can change so that you can go through faster, or you can slow it down if you really want to see the exact detail, which is really quite awesome. So there's a lot of extras there to do with measuring, to do with also another great one was actually learning about tension. So he's got a 6-minute video on there that explains tension from a master, and it was just like, all these years of sewing, finally I get it, finally I know how to do that. So really, really fantastic. Absolutely enjoyed all of the tips and tricks that I picked up. And even though it's dubbed, so I think that the original language that it was done in is Austrian, because it's in Austria, but it is dubbed over by an English speaker. And I don't know, there's just something really lovely, witty, and charming about the dubbed over the English speaker. So I think that they do a very good job of explaining things, and it's very clear and well thought out. And having said that, even though it is dubbed over, the only points that you realize that it's dubbed over are the few points that you actually have Stefan speaking, and then you have the dubbed over English version speaking. But the rest of the time you are actually seeing the sewing machine needle, the cutting, and the whatever, and it's no different to watching a tutorial with somebody who's got a voice over for it. So that was just the one thing that was there. But Stefan inserts these top tips where he's talking about the top tips about what to do with this, and there were so many, like, banger after banger with the top tips, and it was just really fantastic. And another thing that I have picked up is using pretty side of the fabric, and I was like, that makes sense, you know, because sometimes I struggle, since English isn't my first language, when I'm talking about the right side of the fabric and the wrong side of the fabric. It's something that I struggle with. But I was like, of course, I can just use pretty side of the fabric. And beautiful. It's really, really fantastic. Overall, I really loved how actionable the lessons from the Tailor Academy are and the modules. So I think that even if you're not sewing that particular pattern that comes with the course itself, you certainly can take what you're learning from there into your next sewing project. And I really, really did love that about it. I came away from each of the lessons, each of the modules that I would watch, feeling really inspired and motivated to, you know, jump onto a sewing adventure so that I can do the understitching just the way that Stefan covered it, or, you know, do a sleeveless dress and do the shoulders in the way that he showed it. It just was really wonderful to see it in such a way that was very motivating and inspiring. So in terms of who this course would benefit, I do think that it would benefit seamstresses, sewers of all different ranges. Even if you're a complete beginner and you are starting out, this will get you covered, and you will definitely learn a lot, and the skills will definitely, if you stick with it, will take you to a professional level. And as for people who are already sewers like myself, you definitely can learn a lot about taking your sewing just up to that next level. And that's what lifelong learning is about. And that's the joy of sewing, where you're constantly learning to improve something and just getting better at it. So I do think that there is a wide range of people that would definitely benefit from this. And when you do watch it, so much, like the top tips, all of the stuff that you're getting from Stefan, it's really quite inspiring. So Tailor Academy, they do have a free 2-week trial period, which you can go for, and I'll put the links in the description box down below. So you can also have a look through to see the patterns that you will eventually build up to, because you get to the point where you do coats and things like that. And for me personally, one of my dream things that I would love to make is number 41, where there will be a lesson on making a suit. So I was just like looking at the pictures of that. It's one of those things that I do have a dream of making a 3-piece suit for my husband. I've made him trousers, I've made him shirts, I haven't made him one jacket but he has once asked me to make him a suit, but I've always just been like, okay. But having watched this, I do feel like if Stefan were to take me through that, I would be able to create a suit that is worthy of the red carpet or something like that. So that's it. That's today's video, and that's a review of the Tailor Academy, my thoughts on it. And I do think that it is definitely something that I would sign up for, simply because I love the idea of growing my skill set. And some of the designs that they have on there are definitely classic, timeless designs, which tie in very well with all of this work that I've been doing with capsule wardrobes and style and all of that. And if I get started on that, I could be talking for another hour or so, so I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found the video entertaining, useful, and informative. And if you did, smash the like button down below. Do remember to go check out the Tailor Academy. I'll also link another review post done by Lisa from Ed and So On, because she also did a review of that, and you might want to hear a different perspective on what she had to say about it. So until I see you next time, lovely people, happy sewing. Take care now. Bye.